Okay, so I know this is like random, like really random, but like this happens to people, and this happened to one of the most famous people that ever graced his grace on the planet Earth. And partially of that happened to me, of what people were saying to him and what was going on. And I just recently came on something related to this guy. He came on, and then I watched it, and then I watched the interview, and I was like, this came up, and I'm like, oh my god, like that literally happened to me, and I never thought about that before. And I'm talking about Michael Jackson, okay? The Michael Jackson. I watched his documentary like 2 years ago on like his whole childhood and everything. And you know, the most controversial thing that he's done, or not he's done, what people think he done is pedophilia, or like he's like a pedophile or something, which is like odd to me because it's just like, are you fucking kidding me? But I relate. And yeah, so that's what I'm gonna be talking about today. And R.I.P. Michael Jackson. Like, this man, great. People did not treat him great, but he still kept on a fucking smile on his face. And that's what I can relate to, right? Like, no matter how many bitches can come to you and treat you with disrespect, you always kept a smile on your face. You always been nice to everyone. And that's exactly what he did. And that's exactly what I am doing. And I should be correcting. Just because you're mean to me and I have respect for myself doesn't mean I have to show the same respect. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because, well, sometimes I still do, but like, I'm not gonna always be nice to you, especially when you disrespect me. Okay? I might not show you the same disrespect that you show me, but you're not getting nice. And coming from a non-famous person, this is easy to do. But Michael Jackson, he couldn't like be mean. Like, he couldn't like tell you to screw off, because then the press or whoever's behind whatever will make up an evil, vindictive story against him. That's exactly what happened, and that's exactly why he died. Because of the freaking, well, I read a comment like when I was watching these interviews of Michael Jackson. I'm like, oh my god, I literally relate to Michael Jackson. And it's like, what? And I know like a nobody looking in would have been like, you relate to Michael Jackson? But let me explain, okay? But yeah, so I read a comment on like an interview. It was like, the Hollywood killed Michael Jackson. Hollywood killed Michael Jackson. I'm like, yeah, they literally did. Because I remember sitting on the edge of my bed watching the documentary, and then like the ending point of his life, like he's taking, meds, and then you overdose or something like that. And I was like, it's because of fucking Hollywood. Like, I was put in like a situation that he was put in, like people calling him a pedophile, and that's what I'm mainly going to be talking about today. Because I know I briefly say, like on platforms, I briefly say, and no summarization of people used to call me a pedophile. People used to call me a pedophile, and I never fell into that. So I feel like I should fall into that right now. So the reason why people say that to me, or they say it to me, number one is because I say little boy and little girl. Now, number one, pedophiles don't acknowledge or say little boy or little girl. They just look at this child as an object, a sexual object. They do not say little girl, little boy. They don't say basically anything to make that child a child. Like, obviously. So for me saying, oh, little boy, little girl, maybe I say it in a tone, that doesn't make me a pedophile, okay? But people used to call me a pedophile because I had a lot of children around me. And the only reason why I had these children around me is because I called them my children. Okay? And yes, I'm talking about within a VR. in places else, but we're only going to be talking about in this VR. Okay, I am a mother, and I just figured out videos, like how to post videos from my VR to YouTube. So you're going to be seeing videos on me playing Rec Room on my VR. But I am a mother, okay? And people, thought it was weird. Same thing as Michael Jackson. Of like, people think I'm older than I actually am in the video game. Like, people think I'm like older. Like, no, I'm 18 years old, okay? I've been playing the VR since I was 15 years old. So you need to cut this shit out right now. You need to cut this shit out. Meanwhile, people like Diddy been in the industry, and now 20 years later, he's coming out as a pedophile and a sexual assaulter and an abuser. But Michael Jackson, they want to put that shit on Michael Jackson with little to zero evidence. It's bullshit. But this is what people do, and and that's why I'm recording this video, to keep people, like, there's people out here, but you need to decipher the truth and the lies, period. But most of Michael Jackson's fans still caught in that. And I'm like, how can you do that? But anyways, this is why I can relate to Michael Jackson. So since I had children around me, meanwhile, these children did not say, oh, she's like being weird, like she's being like being like a little pedophile. It's only the people who were just like, who were outside and they didn't understand. Like, obviously, I treat this person as my son. Yeah, he's not actually my son. Yeah, she's not actually my daughter, but I look as them as that. And they do look at me like a mom. And I know that might sound like, weird. But, like, have you ever heard of roleplay? Have you ever played Roblox before? If you, people play these games, people know roleplays, but they just want to hate, and they feel like they need to hate. They need to hate. They need to do this. And being called a pedophile, like, it really does hit me hard because, like, obviously, that's wrong. And I I exit pedophiles from their life. So, like, being called one, it's, like, painful. Like, but obviously, I don't take it directly to the heart because I know that, bitch, I'm not a fucking pedophile. The fuck? Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? But, yeah, people do call me a pedophile. Not often, but, like, people do call me that. So I, like, keep it in my brain, so I relate to Michael Jackson. But I'm going to talk about my story and then why I relate to him. So, yes, I do have children around me. And the only reason why I'm, like, a mother in this game is because, in a way, I'm kind of looking out for them because VR and video games is not a safe place for a child / the internet, okay? There's a lot of pedophilia going on in the games that I play. So, in a way, I do help them, and it's, like, kind of funny. And I do record everything on the VR. So, it's, like, it was for YouTube purposes. Like, I don't act, like, the way I act, like, when I'm recording or, like, when I'm, like, around people, the way I act, like, by myself. So, yeah. That, for recording reasons, like, it's funny. Like, oh, like, I have a child. Like, but no. Okay. And children are funny as hell. Like, children are funny. I don't be around children in real life. I don't be around nobody in real life. The only children I be around is my brother and my cousins. Okay? But children are funny. They're funny to be around. And, period. Period. You see a funny child, you're like, oh my god, that's funny, right? So, yeah, my children are funny as shit because they're children. They're innocent, and yeah, I'm mother. That's how people say to people, like, Nicki Minaj is mother to me, okay? A lot of children listen to Nicki Minaj. Is she a pedophile? A lot of fans of Nicki Minaj are children. Is she a pedophile? Yes, she might be shaking that ass and shit, but, like, nobody's doing that, right? So, exactly. So, children are funny to hang around, not to, like, constantly being around. I don't hang around children, okay? But there was a game that I was actually able to pedophile in this VR, because, people think it's weird for me to have children and stuff like that. And people think I'm a weirdo because, like, the way I act, but that doesn't mean that I'm a pedophile. Okay. So yeah, I was actually labeled a pedophile in this game, and that's what people see me as. But listen, there's a difference between the truth and the lie. If people actually thought I was a pedophile, they wouldn't speak to me. They wouldn't do things. Like, I stay away from pedophiles, like, in general. Like, they disgust me to my core. Like, I'm not hanging around bitches that I think is weird, like, pedophilia vibes. I'm staying away from them. So if you're, like, the way people were treating me in this one game that I was labeled a pedophile, it was actually like, okay, if you actually thought that, you wouldn't be trolling. You wouldn't be doing any of this, right? But yeah, it got that bad. It got that serious. But you have to. So this game that I'm talking about, they try to get me out of this game, for multiple reasons. So first, they thought I was white, because people think I sound white. So they were like, "Oh, you're racist." So they couldn't get me out of that game. Then they're like, "Oh, you're a pedophile." And then I'm like, "Okay, bitch, I'm not a pedophile." Then I left the game. They claimed I was banned from the game. Blah blah blah. But when I get famous and somebody's like, oh my god, like, she was in, because I kind of think about that. Like, I'm like, these bitches, like, I honestly feel like they don't believe that I was a pedophile, but like, they might run with the story. But obviously I'm not a pedophile, okay? But I do appreciate children around me. And I know that's not weird. But like, children, like, I see children as children. I don't see them as like, not really friends. Like, when I'm around my children in the game, I actually see them as my children. I call them my son. And you'll see that in, like, when I post videos. Now on my VR, because I figured that out. But it's like, I'm trolling as well. Like, it's a big troll. Like, I troll a lot. So, like, yeah. I'm a troll. Oh, I say kidnap children. I'm trolling, okay? But, I can always, like, separate myself from the trolling shit and people, like, some people saying me as that, and some people, like, doing, like, saying things. Like, I can, like, always separate and recalibrate, because that game I was saying that I was labeled a pedophile, it was, like, my favorite game, and I was playing that game for, like, a long period of time, and the reason why I left that game was because people were calling me that, and obviously I felt very uncomfortable, so I was just like, damn, you're not about to do that to me. And there was an actual pedophile in the game. Like, there was, like, 3 of them. Like, there was, like, a 44-year-old male playing that game. He was trying to get at me, like sexually, and then he was trying to get at my used-to-be friend. Yeah. But, like, nobody labels them as a pedophile because they don't have necessarily issues with them. So they ignore the actual threat. And that's exactly what happened to Michael Jackson. Dun, 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 brings me to my conclusion. And also, people think it's weird. Also, I'm relating to Michael Jackson that I have a lot of children things. Like, I like to play with children things. And I'm not saying, like stuffed animals. People think I am weird for having stuffed animals at 18, like, in a dolls. Like, people think, oh, like, when I was on Omegle, or, like, in general, like, my mom and my sisters, like, oh, you own dolls at 18 years old? Like, that's weird. You have stuffed animals at 18 years old. That's weird. Like, having children things. Like, most of my room, it looks like it would be like an 8-year-old girl's room. And the reason for that is, when I was a little girl, like, I didn't know how to express myself. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I liked, So it's basically healing my inner child. That's what I'm trying to say. So having, like, these, like, owning this, like, this is like a doll for a child, okay? Like a little girl. But I don't play with it. It's just, like, there, so I can just, like, see it. But this is obviously, I'm not playing dolls. And if I was, what's the big deal? So yeah, this is healing my inner child. My inner child, owning things like this, because when I was a child, I didn't know what I liked. I didn't have a personality. Okay, I was faking it. I always wanted my room to be like this as a child. I always wanted to have these kind of nails. Hello Kitty, Hello Kitty. I always wanted to have my hair pink, but I just didn't. So me doing all this shit is healing my inner child. Yes, I'm grown up. Yes, I'm, like, the legal age. Like, 4 months ago, I was 17, but whatever. But it is healing my inner child. And that's exactly where it brings me to my conclusion of Michael Jackson. Dun, dun, dun. Michael Jackson, the people framed him as a pedophile. And that I'm actually about to crash out, like, because I love Michael Jackson. Like, my mother, like, took a photo with Michael Jackson. Like, my whole family's obsessed with Michael Jackson. My mother, like, she's, like, the old-time fan of Michael Jackson. Even though I was born in 2006, 3 years old, never really heard of Michael Jackson, but, like, growing up, like, I heard his music constantly, like, still hear his music to this day, so he's an icon. So, I don't know how people go from icon, legend, he doesn't do weird shit, to he's a pedophile, because people are vindictive, people are rude, for no apparent reason. So, I relate to him for that. But so Michael Jackson had the zoo thing for like children and stuff, even though like adults go to the zoo, adults go to Disney World, but nobody's questioning them, okay? But they're questioning Michael Jackson. So let me break this shit down to you. So Michael Jackson had like this zoo or thing for children, and I think he built it for children and also for himself. Because I also watched an interview and he was like, I never get to travel because, you know, I'm Michael Jackson. Like, I can't ever go walk the streets without getting, like, billions of people of paparazzi because he's Michael Jackson. Hello, Michael Jackson, the biggest name. He literally said that. I can't go travel nowhere without, you know, hiding in my room. You know, I can't do that. So I build it inside my own walls. I build it behind my own gate, which is like a zoo and things like that. Michael Jackson never had a childhood, you know. He got famous, like, very young. He never had a chance to be by himself and remove himself. Like I said earlier, like, what I can remove myself when bitches talk all that shit on social media, on Kick. Who sees people being mean to me? I do. Like, people call me a pedophile in this video game. You know, I can always step back and be by myself in my own room. I can literally walk, because I'm not famous. I can literally walk the street. I can literally travel. Nobody be like, oh, aren't you that girl who does that shit on that website and you're like really weird? No one's going to walk up to me and do that. You know, I can take a step back. Michael, that's why, like, I feel bad for him. Like, for real. Michael Jackson couldn't take a step back. He couldn't, like, cuss a bitch out. He couldn't, like, step away from what people were saying about him or travel somewhere, like, because he's Michael Jackson. Okay, and again, so yeah, he never had a childhood. So him doing things for children, like building a zoo, like, I would, as a child and now, I would love to go to Michael Jackson Zoo. So if people thought it was a bad idea, like, come on, like, who wouldn't go to, like, Michael Jackson Zoo or like his activities that he would have at his house for children? Now, I know it might look weird, like an adult man with children, compared to Michael Jackson, you know, caring for children, because he had never had a childhood, so he wanted to give children what he never had. And is worth $1 billion even till this day, so he can literally afford anything for children. That's not weird. That's like very generous, okay? Because celebrities, they don't give a fuck about the children, to be honest. And so, anyways, what brought me to Michael Jackson in the first place is I was watching a video with the Home Alone dude, you know, the child from Home Alone, him and his wife, which she's like another child star. And I was watching them, and I was like, oh, like, he looks kind of ugly now. Let me just look his name up on YouTube, and then, like, Michael Jackson and him, and apparently, well, yeah, Michael Jackson and him were good friends when he was like a child, and Michael Jackson were like good friends, right? First of all, people act like you can't be friends with an adult and you're like a child. Like, I have a great relationship with my friend, and he's like 10 years older than me. Like, I met him when I was 8, and he was 16 years old. So, just because y'all are like, the ages difference are off, doesn't mean you can't be friends, okay? So, not everyone is friends with them, but that could happen and no weird shit behind it. So the Home Alone dude, Michael Jackson, they were friends. Like, he would go to the zoo, Michael Jackson Zoo and stuff. And when in like 2003 people called him a pedophile and these accusations coming out, because it might look weird, like children are sleeping in Michael Jackson's bed. I mean, that doesn't really sound weird to me, but like I guess it sounded weird to other people. But like I would love to sleep in Michael Jackson's bed. Like it's Michael Jackson, okay? They're acting like it's just like this random dude. Like that would be weird. Like a random dude. It's Michael Jackson. Why would Michael Jackson be a pedophile? Like, are you kidding me right now? Like, they didn't make any sense to me. Like, who comes up with this, like, canceling shit? Who comes up with these things? Like, I really want to strangle them to death. But yeah, Michael Jackson never had a good childhood. His dad would, like, force him to do singing. And yes, he did love singing, but, like, he would, like, overdo it. Like, his dad would, like, hit him in his balls. And he can't, like, that's why Michael Jackson doesn't have blood-related children, even though it's still his children, because his dad will like kick him down there, and he like now he couldn't get, give children, right? Like that's terrible. But everyone overlooks what his dad did to him. Like nobody's like, oh my god, like he literally had the worst childhood ever as a black child, and he was growing up in the 1960s or 1970s. That's like wow, like. Mother sit there and watch. He watched his other brothers get like abused by his father. He never had a childhood. Okay, because his dad was like peer pressuring him and hitting him. So like him doing this for children, outside looking in, I would be like, oh my god, that's like amazing. Like I'm glad like he can like do that for children. I'm like, but people like to spin it around. So yeah, people labeled him as a pedophile because children were sleeping in his bed. Now I watched an interview of like the Home Alone dude. Him and Michael Jackson was like friends, right? And he was like, yeah, I was sleeping in Michael Jackson's bed. But he was like, this is Michael Jackson. His bedroom is like 2 stories. That's what he said. Michael Jackson's bedroom is 3 stories. I'm pretty sure he said that. 3 stories, okay? So like his bed is ginormous. Like it's not like we're sleeping directly next to each other. Like awesome. And as he should know, someone who's gone through child abuse and they like learn from it, such as Michael Jackson, they wouldn't repeat it, okay? Like I've experienced child abuse, like I'm not repeating that shit, okay, because I'm smart, okay? I wouldn't whip my child because I was whipped at an early age, and that like actually traumatized me, like I'm not even lying. So imagine what Michael Jackson went through, you know? And my dad, he didn't know any better. Like, he does apologize to me. He was like, he was whipping me and stuff. But he was like, I'm whipping you so you can be a good child, okay? But Michael Jackson's dad never said that to him. It was just like, you're getting beat the fuck up. So, like, that traumatized me. Imagine what Michael Jackson was going through, okay? Nobody looks at that. Nobody does. And they're still labeling him as a pedophile, which is crazy. But meanwhile, Diddy is like, oh, it's so funny what Diddy did to children. So fucking, I mean, not children, but like everything. Like Diddy did literally everything wrong. It's so funny what Diddy did. But like Michael Jackson, not to say it's funny, but like it's false. The truth, I mean, that's not the truth. The lie is false. The truth, okay, let me explain the truth. It's just, I relate to Michael Jackson because, not to say I never had a childhood, but, like, I'm doing things that healed my inner child. Like, I never used to do things back in the day because, I had anxiety and, like, I was doing things for other people, and now I'm healing my inner child. And that's exactly what Michael Jackson was doing. Like, he was healing his inner child, doing the zoo for children, watching children be happy, watching children be children. Because he never got the chance to be a child. Because he was singing at age 9 in front of like 1,000 people, right? And if he messed up one little bit, his dad would beat him up, like beat him the fuck up. And he was the star child. He was like the 3rd youngest. Pressure was on him. He was the star. So like, but yeah, so that's why I'm making this. People stop spinning things, okay? And then the actual pedophiles get away with it. And that's, oh my god, like, what the fuck? Like, the actual pedophiles, and they're not even hidden. they're like loud and open. Loud and open, but nobody cares to do anything because they were jealous. That's what people do. They hate on people that they're jealous of. That's what people do. So people were jealous of Michael Jackson. Honestly, who wouldn't be? He's still famous till this day. 15 years later, still getting everything. Okay? People hate on Michael Jackson, but like, you could have torn him down for like being like, actually no, he didn't deserve to be torn down, but like being a pedophile, like come on, like really, like that's disgusting. And that's I feel like too, like as a certified murderer, I kill pedophiles. So like it doesn't really get me to heart, but it does get me there. Like I'm being called a pedophile. Are you kidding me right now? Like, do you know what I do to fucking pedophiles? Like, are you fucking kidding me? But yeah, hanging around children. Why me and Michael Jackson did it is because children are funny. They're not gonna betray you, like friends will do. No, I'm not friends with children, but I'm just saying. Children are most of all nice. They're not mean, and they're funny. They're like, I don't know what else to say. Like me, Michael Jackson, we didn't do no weird shit with children, okay? Because we know what it's like. Okay? Do I need to say more? Do I honestly need to say more? So I wanted to dedicate this video to Michael Jackson. R.I.P. I know the struggle, boy. Man, sorry. I know the struggle. Okay? I know the struggle. You know, I know the struggle. And people need to look at the bigger picture. The picture is not bigger than this. Wait, the picture is bigger than this. The picture is bigger than this. The picture is bigger than the whole universe. Look at the whole picture and then come to a gruesome conclusion of pedophilia, okay? You can't look at one action that somebody did or one thing that looks weird, but it's not, and come to your full decision on to label somebody this. And people also were people talking about, oh, he doesn't like being black because he bleached his skin. First of all, vitiligo is serious. Like vitiligo, like if I had vitiligo, I wouldn't know how to act. Like being black, I love being black. Like I wouldn't, like changing skin color, like I would go crazy. Like I would have been like, oh my goodness. And on top of that, you're being stared at. First of all, I get stared on. Like I get stared at, but like in a weird way. Like not to say vitiligo is weird. Like props on it who has vitiligo, but like your actual color, the color that you had since birth, is changing to different color. Like I couldn't deal with that. Like no. So he said the reason why he's like not the same skin color as he was in like vitiligo shows up in patches. He's on one color. For one, people don't like. Nothing wrong with that, but like, no, I'm not gonna say that. Okay, why am I leaving? But you think people? No, I'm gonna be honest. Do you think people are gonna support him if he's like two colors? So he like it was like he just blends. He said he blends everything out instead of like, you know, the vitiligo, you know, which is like terrible. But yeah, people say he didn't like being black. Oh, he has straight hair. He has straight hair. We had a nose job. Ooh, so he don't like being black. If he didn't like being black, he wouldn't be doing what he was doing since birth. If you don't like being black, you would outwardly say, you would act white. You would do things that a black person would do. Okay. Like hello, like people think I don't act like a black person. I don't know what is a black person supposed to act like. This doesn't mean I hate black people. Or I don't like being black or whatever the case may be. But like I relate to Michael Jackson. I do. And I think most people do. Like, you're being accused of something you're not. Child abuse. Okay? And healing your inner child. Healing your inner child, okay? Hanging around children actually does heal my inner child, to be honest. Like, my children that are actually not my children, they do remind me of what I used to be, which was, I didn't give a fuck. Like, when I was, like, 8 years old. Like, I didn't give a fuck. Like, I was, like, innocent. I was fun. I didn't care what people were saying. Like, children have that, and it's admiring, until society break them down and make them vindictive and evil. But people need to stop judging people off the bat, and they need to judge people who really need it, because I can name 1,000 fucking names that nobody talks shit about, famous or not famous, and they're just terrible people. Aiden Ross, that nobody is like talking about, but they want to talk about people that looks weird, but it's really not weird. The only reason why you think it's weird because you are doing that shit. Stop judging people, because I'm about to beat you the fuck up. And if if we were really pedophiles, you think we would be pedophiles? Like, in my case, what? No, they're secretive. They're not sitting there doing the things that me and Michael Jackson are doing. Period. But the people with CP on their computer on Omegle, what happens to them? The FBI, they don't go after them. They just let them do them. But people are getting arrested. It's just bullshit. Like, people act like they care, but they really don't. Especially when the things that they actually care about. But I actually care. Destroy all pedophiles. My uncle's a pedophile. I don't hang around my uncle. I don't talk to my uncle. For that reason. But my family does. And that's exactly what society is. The real pedophiles, they let walk because they feel like intimidated by them or something. Or whatever. So they don't, they didn't do anything to me, so I'm not doing it. But since I'm jealous of you and I want what you have, I'm going to call you the last thing you will fucking be in the book. Which is a goddamn pedophile. You know how many times I killed a pedophile in my life? It's over 30 times. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, that's like, it hurts. It really does. Or like, somebody's like, oh, you're racist. Or like, saying things that like, I am strictly, like, no. Like, I'm strictly, like, heavily against. But they killed Michael Jackson. Hollywood killed Michael Jackson. And I watched Oprah Winfrey interview with Michael Jackson when he had like a red shirt on. She was so fucking disrespectful. But nobody talks how rude and ignorant and dumb as shit that fat girl who's interviewing everyone in the book. She was so rude to Michael Jackson in that interview. Like, and he looked just so kind and a good person. And that's what people do to people. That's what they did to me. But I didn't take drugs to do it, because honestly, if I was in Michael Jackson's shoes, because he couldn't walk away, he couldn't take a break. I can take a break from people calling me that. I can like walk away taking a cigarette and nobody's like questioning me, like on a daily basis. Like, it's not open up my phone, it's constantly, oh, this about what I supposedly done or whatever. But Michael Jackson, he went through that. He couldn't take a break. So he took drugs and it made him die. Because of the fucking Hollywood. Or the people behind it. Look what they did to Britney Spears. So, that's terrible. But I went to make that video. I don't feel like this video is weird, but like, it was kind of like, it kind of is a little bit weird, but like, to be honest, look at the person you're accusing. Do they look like that? When you know damn well they're not? Like, take a good look at them. Like, take a good look at me. No, I'm not. I know. But anyways, I just wanted to make this video. Definitely will post this on YouTube. It might make me look weird, but I honestly don't give a fuck, because this is me. This is me. I'm real. I'm speaking the truth. I love Michael Jackson, so I'm going to dedicate this video to Michael Jackson. And I relate to him big time. And he's a respectable man. I would, if I could pull Michael Jackson, even though like he's like way older than me, I would have been like, I understand where you're coming from. And who gives a fuck? You live your life to the fullest and don't take any drugs. Okay? Because I know Michael Jackson's been told, you're like the famous person ever. Like, you're so famous. I would have been like, fuck them other bitches. You care about you. If you love children, not romantically, okay? You love children because they remind you of the childhood you wish you had or you wish somebody gave to you. So you want to give it to other children. Doing what you do what you think is right, okay? Who cares if people think it was weird? Who gives a fuck? It's your life. It's not theirs. And people wish they could be in your shoes, and that is why they're hating on you.